In the past year, some very violent and offensive games have reached the market. And of course, I'm speaking about Mortal Kombat and Night Trap. And let me say that for the record, I want to state that Night Trap will never appear on a Nintendo system.
Happy October, and welcome to Monday Macabre, a weekly October series spotlighting a horror game every Monday up until Halloween. I know this channel is geared towards movies, but I must admit I am a casual gamer at heart, and today I wanted to kick off the show with one of the classic controversial favorites that got an impressive upgrade 5 or so years ago. He got Congress so shook, it even pioneered the ESRB rating system in the 90s. Night Trap is arguably one of the most important games of all time. While in the current day, the title just seems like some quaint attempt to prove that interactive films could work, anyone who I'm sure was around in 1992 could tell you otherwise, unless you were in Congress. Not only was it a launch title for the oft-maligned yet incredibly influential Sega CD, it also nearly single-handedly created the ESRB and the FMV craze of the mid-90s. And now that we've had a few years to look back on the 25th anniversary edition, does it still hold up, or does it suck your blood? I have a Sega Genesis, a Sega Saturn, I think I got a Sega Game Gear lying around, but the Sega CD is very alien to me, hence why we're going over the PS4 version. The first thing to note is that the game's visual quality revolves around the source material used for the footage. While all the game's scenes were filmed in 1987 on 35mm film, the original film apparently could not be used. Because of this, the developer instead inserted the scenes from the director's own copy of the master tapes. And I think what we got here is, well, something that's far from perfect, but not bad looking either. It's definitely seen some damage over the years, right down to missing multiple scenes that would explain some of the jarring inconsistencies of the plot, but the way I look at this is that it's really the only way you can be immersed in the concept of watching 80s CCTV footage.
And you keep your eyes open. We're all depending on you, especially Kelly. She should be there now. I'll switch you over. And good luck.
And the game technically has gameplay, but because it's an early FMV title, the controls are reduced to switching between 8 surveillance cameras and activating traps to capture augurs. Augurs, that's like poggers if the augurs are supposed to be this game's version of vampires. While the lack of gameplay may sound extremely boring and even borders repetitive, Night Trap is a game that requires your undivided attention at all times. Throughout each game's total runtime of about 30 minutes, you'll be juggling between trying to learn more about the game's story and making sure you don't miss enough augurs to get a game over. The PS4 version that I played appears to change up the formula in some pretty influential ways from the original version. First thing I noticed was that the game features 4 new scenes, including the game's original intro. While only a couple of them are really substantial, they still should be enough to throw off the fans, at least the hardcore fans of the original. Second, the UI now shows live camera feeds as static room icons. While you can still listen in on one at a time, it still gives you a quick chance to figure out what room you should be scoping out before you miss an augur. This can be turned off for the purists, but you should probably keep it on for at least your first run. The third thing I noticed is that there's this feature called Theater Mode, which unlocks after your first completion of the game. After that, every story scene you even partially see in your replays can be watched in their entirety from the extras menu. Not only does it give it an easier way to follow the game's plot, it also lets you focus more on the augur's imperfect run attempts.
Listen, things are getting really weird around here. Keep your eyes open and watch out for the other girls. I'll be right back.
They also added an endless mode, letting you play Night Trap as long as you can. What drew me, and I'm sure countless other fans, however, is the film going on in the background between each of the video feeds you switch through. It's a simple plot, albeit very random and all over the place, which is why you can find supercuts of Night Trap as a film trying to make sense of its problems, and it usually has a duration of a 1-hour TV spot. You play as a Master Control operator with the Special Control Attack Team, aka SCAT. Yeah, that's gotta be a good look when your SWAT team is associated with animal feces. Anyway, you get tasked with monitoring undercover agent Kelly, played by the late Dana Plato, as well as a bunch of teenagers that came with her using the house's elaborate and trap-heavy security system. That's right, not even Kevin McAllister could come up with some of these demon traps. Things quickly go awry when the augurs appear, so you have to make sure Kelly and the others stay safe long enough for the rest of the SCAT team to arrive on the scene and figure out who the owners really are and how they relate to the augurs. It's cheesy in its sitcom-esque staging and lighting, the acting is unusually strange from just about everybody, and in classic B-movie fashion, has ridiculous death scenes, bad effects, and even a musical number. But the controversy around it at the time is still perplexing. While it has the setup of a softcore porno, it never goes in that direction. There's no language, there's no blood, except for in the title, I guess, and even the action is very wonky to be considered violent.
That's it, take him in. Get him, Deke. Oh, please. Bullets cannot hurt me.
The game's acquired taste. If you're weird like most of us, it's a pretty good time and has enough replay value every couple years. It's a good time capsule of something that pushed boundaries in the industry without actually pushing any real boundaries.
This is Collins. Here goes nothing, Chief.
Just no heroics, huh?
Count on it. I think we should give him the old Jamaican number, huh, Chief? And out.
Hello. So sorry to disturb you like this. So sorry to barge in. But I was wondering if maybe you had seen my boat.
Your boot.
My boat? Boat! Oh! My boat. Ain't it a beauty? Built it myself.